Hi, hello. So, if you're new here, my name is Jen, this is Walter, and this is my van build. Okay guys, so it has been a minute. Basically what's been going on is the holidays and moving. I finished moving last weekend from my cutie little Ferndale house back here. So although I haven't made a ton of progress here in Walter has been putting in some big work while I have been shuffling things around. There's been some debate about what kind of insulation to use. There are a ton of kinds. I mean, much like when we talked about the floor, I could use some of that foam board insulation, which would work for these large panels, but aren't really going to work to get into these nooks and crannies, which kind of introduces a whole separate issue, right? Additional options are things like rock wool or fiberglass, which produce a lot of particles and stuff like that, which I'm not really crazy about in such a small space. That left me with some other options that, I love or don't love. Looking at the environmentally friendly ones that don't off-gas and don't release particles. Denim you'll see a lot. I didn't love denim because, I don't know, if you're an 80s baby like me, you were part of the bell-bottom craze. I guess it's the second time it came around, but last time it came around. And you remember when your pants drag and they soak up that water, it would take years for your pants to dry. They were just never going to be dry again. So that experience alone basically means that I didn't want to use the shredded denim in here because I saw how it responds to moisture. So that left me with two options, the Havelock wool and Thinsulate. Havelock wool was really, really appealing to me for a lot of reasons. One, it's it's very environmentally friendly. I can speak today. Very environmentally friendly. It doesn't off-gas. It doesn't release particles. It has a really decent R value. What wasn't appealing to me was that it's basically just in bats of wool. And to get that to stick up, it's a little bit more difficult. It seemed just like a whole different creature to try to wrangle and stick on. So that left me with Thinsulate. Thinsulate but it's not going to off-gas, it is not going to create particles, and it's going to be very, very easy to install. So I hemmed and hawed about this for a while, and ultimately just made a snap decision when the money became available, and this is where we're at. So to do the Thinsulate, I can speak today, you guys. The Thinsulate Insulation installation. I'm going to be using this 3M High Strength 90, which is what they recommend for the installation of this insulation. This is really just not great for the tongue twisters, you guys. I also don't have a respirator, so I ordered one of these fancy breather masks. It said it should be good. We'll see, I guess. If I drop dead and die, that's not funny. We'll see if it works. Supposedly this should be plenty. I just want to make sure I'm not breathing in any of the fumes or the actual adhesive that I'm using. The last thing I need, just a good pair of scissors, because this should be pretty straightforward to cut. I haven't busted into this yet, but you can see it's a giant roll. This is how it came shipped. And this will expand, hopefully, when I open it up. And I'm literally just going to measure the space, cut this to size, and stick it to the walls. So let's get going. You guys, I'm so excited. I wasn't allowed to open this until I finished my move, but now it's time. R value right here for me. So I have the SM600L Thinsulate, and I will at the end cover exactly what this product is, how much of it I ordered, and where I ordered it from. But the R value for just one single sheet alone is 5.2, which is not bad, especially considering that this is also an acoustic barrier, which when we were talking about the kill mat, You guys remember I said this is an acoustic barrier, it's just to stop the vibrations. This is going to be the acoustic barrier. You guys may also remember that I had set aside a couple sheets of the acoustic, or not the acoustic barrier, the acoustic. You guys may remember that I set aside a couple sheets of the sound deadener to place around where I put the fan and the skylight. So this actually turned out to be a really good call on my part because of where I had to put the skylight to get it lined up with the ridges on the roof. I have this whole area here that I can put some of this on, and a few other places that I can fill in. So I'm gonna do that now. Okay, so as I understand it, I need to spray it, wait a minute until it's just tacky, and then stick it up. It says to spray both surfaces, but that seems unnecessary when this whole sheet weighs like 3 ounces. Also, that just seems like a mess to try to get this tacky. So I'm gonna try it without doing that and see how it goes. If it falls off, then I know I've done it wrong. Okay. Okay guys, as with everything with this project, it seems like it's just gonna take way longer than I thought it was gonna take, but I have this whole panel done, that whole panel done, that whole panel done, and then I've done this and shoved a bunch of insulation up in here, which I wasn't gonna be able to do once I had this in here. So I still need to, I can ignore that one because the window's going in there soonish, but I still have to do these bottom panels, the entire ceiling, which I have a feeling is gonna be just a colossal pain in the ass, and the back doors. And then if I have enough left, I'm gonna line the headliner too, because this is not insulated, it's just covered in like a plastic covering. So I will be back at it tomorrow. Okay, so I finished all of the major panels, and now I'm on to just shoving bits up into these little crevices, these nooks and crannies. So I kept all the scraps that I cut, and I'm just kind of using the pieces available to shove them in wherever they can go. Okay, so I think I'm done. I've got all of the ceiling covered, all of the walls. I do have enough left. So I had that whole roll, which again, at the end, I will give you the details on how much I ordered, and how much it cost and all that jazz. But of that whole roll that I started with, I have this much left. So not a ton. Like it's literally just a sheet this big. And that's all I've got left. I can say that it is way quieter in here. And with my heater running in here, it is getting way warmer, way faster, and staying warmer. So that's awesome. So I taped around this window to start, and this one, it really wasn't necessary because I wound up not needing the adhesive to stick these in here. They wedge in here so nicely that there really wasn't a point to adding an adhesive there. It just seemed like cumbersoming up. That's not a word. It just seemed like it was cluttering up the process. I wound up using about 1.5 cans of the High Strength 90. This one seems like it's about here right now. If I had done the window over here, I might have used more, but there's gonna be a window there, so there's no point. But yeah, just to give you an idea. All in all, this wasn't like a super difficult process. I would definitely recommend getting some really good shears. I did not have good shears. I broke 2 pairs of scissors, just snapped them clean. So I would make sure that you had some really good shears and just prepare for this to take a lot longer than you think it's going to take. But it's not a difficult process. It's not technically very difficult. It's just time consuming. Okay guys, so that is a wrap on the insulation installation, I got it right that time, in the van. I did talk a little bit about the insulation in the video, but it really came down to, honestly, just a knee-jerk purchase. I had been weighing both of them back and forth in my head, and when I finally had the money and was ready to order it, I just kind of went, okay, Thinsulate. But I think that the Havelock wool would have been just as good, maybe a little bit more difficult to install, but... So, I have the 136-inch wheelbase, standard, it's not like an extended cab or anything, Ram Promaster 1500 with the high top roof. Okay, I'm so glad it's sunny, but it's blinding me. Anyways, so the product that I got was the Thinsulate SM600L product in the 40-foot by 60-inch roll. And you could see that at the very end, I had left that one big square. I don't know what the measurements of that was, but that's what I had left at the end. That's just enough for me to do a little bit of extra padding in some of the places that I want to put it, particularly in the door, and I might use some in the bulkhead wall that I'm going to build. So it was about perfect for my size van in my particular build with the windows that I will have. I think you would have been fine even without all the windows that I have, and that includes the door, the window in the door, the slider door, the bunk window, and then the 2 existing windows I had on my rear doors. If used strategically, that roll would have been just about perfect for my size van, even without any windows, just to give you an idea of how the product stretched. You also saw at the start of this video that there's obviously been a transition. You can see from where I am sitting to record this, this is not where you're used to seeing me. I moved out because my lease was up, and it was a major expense that was really putting a hindrance on how quickly I could move with the van build. I've been able to purchase things a lot more quickly living here to really get the build going. I will say that finishing up my move was kind of it was like a milestone, but also kind of like a wake-up call, like, hey, this is real. I was very, very happy in our little home in Ferndale, and it worked perfectly for my little family. Right, boys? Yeah, it worked perfectly for us. It was definitely a wrench saying goodbye to it because so many good things happened in it, and I mean, bad things too. It's where we lost Vader, but it really was a home in a way that I haven't necessarily had in quite some time. So it was definitely a wrench to say goodbye to it, but onward and upward, right? This is what I've chosen to do. This is where I want to be going. So here we go. So as far as expense, the Thinsulate was not stupid expensive. I think what I paid was a reasonable price to do the entirety of my van, excluding the floor, because remember I used that Artec stuff before. I will, as always, pop up the breakdown of what I spent on this project, but it really was just 3 things. It was I got some extra tape, I think, the spray adhesive, it was the mask, not even tape. I got that special mask, the spray adhesive, and the roll of Thinsulate itself, and the total cost for this project was $453.60, which brings my total for the bill $3,338.26, and the total build time is 19 weeks, bringing us up to December 4th. So do you think I don't notice that you're eating your feet? Excuse you. Thank you. Anyways, all right, you guys, that is it for this week. Thank you again so much for tuning in. If you're enjoying the videos, please consider hitting the like button, hitting subscribe, leaving a comment, letting me know what you think. I've got more to come.
Still I run towards the wind and let the challenge draw me in, 'cause I want more. Oh, we are all